Hey, everyone, this is Professor McGlaughlin. What I'd like to do is provide you with a um, little tutorial and have you start working on lesson one with the Pearson content. I wanted to see what Pearson provided before I provide a separate podcast lecture. I will give a podcast lecture for each of the chapters that we cover. I really like what Pearson has for you. It's interactive, it's interesting, it quiz isn't the right word. It checks your comprehension and understanding through interactive activities. I think it's pretty good. I think it's very straightforward with these initial chapters, a good introductory way to get into the course. Um, Very overview. I like that. But what I would also like to do is you don't really need the PowerPoints, but rather than having me lecture to the screen, I would like to lecture using PowerPoints. I don't think you need them for the quizzes. I don't think you need them for the writing that you're going to be doing in this course. But it just provides structure for a lecture. So I'm going to use them. I'm going to give you copies of them in your Blackboard. But I don't think I just think that's going to be supplemental. The main thing is the what they call the presentation, and that's in the course Blackboard. Okay, so I have captured here Blackboard for you. It's not very colorful. I'd like to update the color. It's kind of boring, but first things first. So nothing's due until this Sunday. Many of you don't even have your Pearson code yet. So that's okay. Hopefully everybody will get it this week, and I have revised the assignments that Pearson preloaded, and that will need to be done for every chapter. So I've reduced the assignments. There is a quiz every week, and what you don't have is a really great syllabus. So right now you're just going to be going, each week is a lesson, and let's get into it so I can show you. So this is, I always start courses on the announcement, but I want you to move over to course documents, which is where you'll start. And there's a lot of stuff there. Hopefully you're already into Pearson. So you're going to scroll all the way down, and here are all the lessons, okay? And lessons all the way for each chapter to chapter 15. So only 15 chapters, that's not hard, but lots of writing within them. So we're going to click on lesson 1. And this is everything you need to know about lesson 1. So to help you out, I will get kind of an assignment plan or a syllabus together for you that just describes what's due every week, but it's going to be the same thing every week. Every week you're going to have a posting in the discussion forum, and you're going to have assignments here. Okay? So let's start first at lesson home. And this is where you can access the interactive presentation. It tells you everything you're going to do. The problem with this is I want you to look at lesson home because it'll tell you everything, but here I am amending these assignments. So what's actually due will differ, and I don't want to go in and amend all these as well. So lesson home is a good overview, but not the definitive statement of what's due each week. And what I will do is prior to the week, get onto an announcement in Blackboard, the definitive description of what's due. All right, but lesson home's a good one, and you don't have to go back out. You can get to the interactive presentation here. I'm going to click on it. And it really is a nice system. I really, really like it. This is your interactive presentation. Can I scroll? No. Your overview. It's very slick. It's very interesting. It's super straightforward. Up here is your progress. Here's how you go forward, and you can click on your objectives. That's always good for you to look at. And these are all the topics in chapter 1. And what you're going to be, it's really just an overview. It's awesome. And there are your topics again in more visual form. And then you go forward. Your introduction. Welcome to the legal system. And you can see you're on page 5 of 49 pages. You can be interactive in here. I really like it. It's not too oversimplified. Chapter 1's very easy and straightforward. And for many of you who have had Legal 201, Legal 202, and are just wrapping things up with this course this semester, much of this you'll be familiar with. What was always so great about the book were the exhibits. And you have the book as well, or the ebook. And those are included here in the course content as well, because no matter what you see online, all of it is modeled and structured after how the cases and laws are physically published. It's just the nature of law. So even Westlaw and online research, having a familiarity with things like this, how legal publications, how they are formatted, what they look like, that's really, really important for when you do online research as well. Okay, so that's the presentation. So let's go back to the lesson. Let's go back to Blackboard. We're at lesson 1. We looked at this, the lesson home, and essentially you looked at the presentation as well, but you can skip lesson home and come to presentation here. And then discussion forum. So each week you'll have a discussion forum. And this tells you what you need to do. And it gives you the rules. Oh, let's see if I linked it here. Yeah, so it links you to the first amazing discussion forum question I put, which is, what do you like and dislike about writing? And if you only dislike it, you don't like anything about it, I'd like to hear that as well. So you're gonna click this and post it. I'm gonna reply to myself. I talk to myself a lot, so I'm used to that. Writing is difficult, but an excellent way to communicate. So don't forget, for those of you who have some preconceived notion of writing, I mean, if you're communicating on the phone, if you're communicating via text, writing is just another form of communication. And what you're learning, I'm just going back to the lesson, what you're learning in, I have not found a great way to go back. I go back through course documents and go back down. There might be a better way. And please share all your learning about the better way to get back to this lesson 1. What you're learning here in this course are 2 levels of writing. One is just basic writing. We're going to do a lot of writing. I'm going to pick on your grammar and your format. And then the second level is the particular kind of writing that the law requires, and that how lawyers like to see things written, how expressing yourself in legal writing um, has its own style, has its own format, and I'll continue to use the word structure because it's very stylized. And what I mean by that is it has a particular style. And maybe one way to think about it is that lawyers are very limited or don't understand things when it's not in the style that they're used to. So one way to bypass a lot of confusion and um, maybe revising and editing is to just focus on the style first and to the best that you can, get the writing down. But the style is most important. What should a memo look like? What, when we write to the court, what should that look like? And that's why you have court rules on how documents should look. It's so that nobody has to think about what it is. I look at it, oh, it's a complaint. Oh, it's a motion. Oh, this is a pleading. Because it's super stylized. It's on pleading paper. It has the formats, the headings. Everything is um, according to a particular rule and style and format. And that can be very freeing for you. Once you learn that format, and that's what you're doing in this class, we're learning the format, then you can get your writing down and you can express yourself. And that's the very freeing part. Okay, so that's the discussion forum. And finally, the assignments, which is actually really important because that's what you're going to do. So if you recall, there was from the very first page in lesson 1 that we looked at, there was an assignment 1.2, but I felt like it was redundant. And also, I don't want to give you too much this first week because we'll be kind of, we're just getting to know this system. So check out each of your assignments. You're going to load it in here. Let's open it up. This is where you upload it. This is the icon for Blackboard for uploading it into Blackboard. This describes the assignment. Take a look at it. I want to freak you out now because everybody's going to be like, but just do your best. It's due Sunday at midnight. All the assignments are going to be due the Sunday of the week that they are assigned at the end of the day, like right before Monday morning. That's when they're due, just to be clear. And then, where's the quiz? There's a quiz. What happened to my quiz? Hold on. Assignments. Well, this was the other one. I had trouble. I'm only in assignments. I had trouble getting back from assignments to lesson 1. So you guys can teach me how to do that. I don't know if there's a better shortcut. Maybe I can create a shortcut. So, oh, I know what. Sorry. Quiz 1 is here. It's not available yet. That's why. Let me make it available right now. Well, I don't want to torture you. I'll make it available. It'll be due by Sunday at midnight as well. I haven't had a chance to edit it. I want to see how many questions it is. For these first couple of quizzes, I may give you multiple attempts, so I can make those changes right now. All right, so let me let you go. I don't want to make this too long. I'm going to post this on over here. Please look over here. I'm going to post these Camtasia videos here on podcast, and I'll also put a link to my YouTube channel. Okay, so I'm going to sign off and let you guys go. I know I have a ton of emails from everybody, and I will get to those as well. And let me figure out how to turn this off. Have a great week, and we'll be in touch. Hi, this is Professor McGlaughlin. I wanted to give you a very brief, maybe tutorial on how the assignment 1-1 should be best answered. And I am doing this because I think some of the questions I've gotten by email will be relevant throughout the rest of the course because this is how these authors write. I really like it. It makes you think. It's not everyday language, but I do think they write their assignments in a way that mimic or shadow how lawyers are going to give you assignments. Not necessarily the step one, step two, but I think I really like it. I think it helps you um, methodically answer things, and that is definitely a benefit. Learning that skill will be a benefit for legal writing and a benefit for any kind of legal career um, at any level, because circling back, well, let me go through assignment one, but briefly, just being forced to circle back. You answered three things in step two. Now go back, and of those three things, answered four other things. This is very much how law reads, how law is written, and how legal thinkers think at a very basic level. In many ways, not all. All right, so let's get into assignment 1-1. I'm going to scroll down. It's really just introducing you to one of the basic skills a paralegal does, which is conducting research, initial research. And the authors do use a funny word. It calls the results of legal research a product. And that's a great way to think about it. A product of your research is going to be a memo, a case brief, sometimes a letter to the client. I recently did research on, the statute of limitations for the Jones case, and this is what I came up with. So, step one, consider the work you expect to perform. I'm right here. In your first year as a paralegal, such as you're locating relevant case law, statutory law, checking citations in a document, reviewing legal memoranda. Step two, identify products produced by a paralegal. And some of these I've just mentioned. You could have a memorandum, you could write your own legal memorandum. You could write a summary of case law and statutory law. That could also be called a memorandum, but you could call it a summary as well. You could write a case brief, which is one of the examples that the authors give you. So the products, at least three that you're going to develop, are going to be that document that contains the results of your legal research. So identify those documents, and they've asked you to identify three. And then step three, describe the responsibilities and the related products. So for each of those three, the case brief, the legal memorandum, the summary of legal issues identified in a particular client's situation, all going into some kind of document. You're going to take each of those and then describe. So you can have a heading. Product number one, case brief. Summary of the type of research that might be involved in briefing a case. Well, I need to look up the case. Were there any cases within that case that were referred to? What resource would you use? Maybe I'd do a Google search, or I'd go to FindLaw, or I'd start with Google, and then I'd go to subsequent valid legal research sites like FindLaw or the Cornell Legal Institute. Describe some of the resources you would use, or I might go to the law library. Describe the major components of the product. So with the case brief, if you know what those components are, and certainly if you read the table of contents for the book, or even just, I don't like to do this. Will I be able to get back here? I always have trouble getting back to assignment. But you could, if you were like confused about the products, you could go back and look at, I'm going to go back for a little bit. Hopefully I'm recording everything. You could go back and look at the other lessons, the lesson 2, the products of research. Let's say you really didn't know. Like, I have no idea. I read lesson 1. I have no idea what they're talking about. Then go ahead, go forward, learn about legal briefs. Briefly, you can look at these. Let's see, I don't know where I would go. Maybe I'll just take a quick look at lesson 4 really quick in the table of contents. If you have the book or your ebook, what are tools that I could use? What are sources of research for research? Which websites would I go to? So all the information you need is really at your fingertips, either online or within the textbook. So if you had difficulty identifying what products are, look around. And that is what I love about these authors. I do think that in this class, don't feel bad if you just don't know. That's why you're taking the class. That's okay. And these skills will develop over time. All this class is doing is introducing you to everything that you are going to be perfecting over a career. Or let's say you don't even go into paralegal or the law. These kind of tools will help you when you're looking up disputes with the credit card company or with your bank. That kind of thing. Where do I look? What would be the most valid, authorized, official website to find out about banking law? That kind of thing. All right, let me not get too preachy. So then you are going to, for each product you identify here, make it a heading and answer each of these. Respond to each of the following. Summarize, and maybe you only have 2 types of research. Describe some of the resources you would use. 2 there. Describe the major components of the product. It will have a heading. It will be dated. That's really important in legal research because I need to know, hey, a case came up in August. When did you write that memo? Oh, I wrote the memo in September. I included that case. Or I wrote the memo in September. Let me go make sure that case was included. Major components of the product really are, well, for the case brief, are you identifying the issues? What was the legal judicial history of that case? What was the holding of the case? Was there a fact summary? That kind of thing. For other things, there may be less components. So the component may really be the heading, the lawyer that it is addressed to, your name, subheadings identifying, like if you're just summarizing statutes and legal research, a discussion component, that kind of thing. And then step 4, you're uploading it. Okay, so hopefully that's answers some of everybody's questions. I am gonna try and circle back and get to all your emails this weekend. Pearson's back up. You should be able to do it. I am gonna open lesson 2 for you, and I'm going to make lesson 1 and lesson 2 due next Sunday, which is what? Is that Labor Day weekend? Let's make it due Sunday. It's the 6th, right? Sunday, September 6th. Obviously, you can submit it sooner, but I know some of you aren't even getting the book until today. So anyway, hopefully this is helpful. It's just kind of a step-by-step for assignment 1, 2. Let me look quickly at 1-3 and see. Someone did have a question. Let me see 1-3. Very typical of ethics. You're going to get a fact scenario and need to respond to it, or describe what went on, what were the ethical violations, that kind of thing. I think that's pretty straightforward. Let's put it this way. Um, for when you are faced with um, and I won't take too long because some of you, this may not have been raised many questions, but you're a paralegal, you're working for a law firm. You've been given the assignment has given you two ethical concepts, confidentiality and conflict of interest. And it's asking you, and it's also giving you a hint. There's a length, there's going to be one of the scenarios is going to be a length of time issue. So perhaps the duty no longer applies. Anyway, but for each of these things, particularly with ethics, you're going to read the fact scenario and your written response. Oh, I see. Oh, I guess I could have edited that out. You don't have a learning log. Oh, maybe that was confusing. Let me edit after. I won't do it in front of you, but let me edit it a little bit. But the written response is going to be in to this question for situation A. Can you be compelled to testify as a paralegal? What duty is invoked by this fact scenario? Make sure to, if you get stuck and you're like, how am I going to write a one-page, there just doesn't seem to be enough there, write complete and full sentences, address the facts. Don't just say, can I be compelled to testify? No, you must explain. Students, I love you. You must explain. You're just practicing your writing here. I want you to see these assignments. Yeah, you're learning something, but this isn't obviously component of all classes are ethics, and it's a profession that's very concerned with ethics. But here I want you to practice your writing. If you don't know, why don't you Google it? Can a paralegal be compelled to testify in the state of California? Don't forget, ethical rules are state-based, okay? And when you Google it, you might find something super interesting, and put that in your answer. I cannot be compelled to testify. This isn't the answer. I haven't looked it up. I cannot be compelled to testify in California, but I may be compelled to testify if I were a paralegal in Texas. And that would be a very interesting answer. All right, but I'm not asking you to do more work. It's just that this class is really an opportunity for you to explore, really without penalty, your many legal issues. You're not being judged on your knowledge of the law per se, unless it's contained in the chapter and you need to know it. Mostly what you're doing is you're formulating ideas and concepts. You're learning how to look them up, write them down, and we're perfecting that activity. What's the question here on situation B? Oh, you wanna start a blog? Can you do this? So actually, that's for situation B, you're explaining, with the duty of confidentiality and conflicts of interest. Can you use examples from actual cases, but with the client's name and other fictionalized details? And then here are the questions that you're answering in situation C. All right, I didn't want to go past 15 minutes for this video, so that's assignment 1-3. That's all that's due. Let me go back and change your due dates. And that's it for me. Have a great weekend, and I will be revealing. I'm hoping now that we got all the some of the kinks worked out, I would like to get you 2 weeks ahead at the very least. I mean, it would be ideal to have the whole semester in front of you, but that's not going to happen. So I think at least 2 weeks ahead would be something to strive for. All right, have a good day.